Okay, here we go. So welcome to class. It's very nice to see you. Maybe some more people will join as the time goes on. But for us, let's just get into the people here. Let's get into a comfortable position. That can either be lying on your mat on your back, knees up, feet flat on the floor, and your shoulders flat across the mat, flat down on the mat. If you're sitting in a chair or cross-legged or your legs in any position that's comfortable, just make sure that your crown of your head is over your tailbone, that your shoulders are relaxed away from your ears, and you can even take them up towards your ears and then back and down. So you have a nice straight line of energy from the tailbone through to the crown of the head, and just lengthen up but not in a, you don't want to put any stress in your body. You just want to have a nice, strong, and secure place to sit. And let's begin by closing our eyes and taking some nice deep inhales and full exhales. Do that just a couple of times to start to slow your breath down and to start to bring your attention into your body. You may have come from a busy day, your heart rate might be up a little bit, blood pressure might be up. So doing this will really start to bring everything down a notch, take you to that rest and relax mode, the parasympathetic nervous system. Draw your senses inward. And just scan your body for any tension you might be holding, any areas that you might be gripping, or it may be habitual tensing, and see if you can soften and relax those areas with your breath by inhaling and using the exhale to soften and relax. Check that your eyes are relaxed. And to help with lengthening the breath and making it deeper, let's bring our focus down to our lower belly. We're going to pretend and envision that there's a hole right below the belly button. And you're going to inhale, so the breath is going to come in, inhaling through that hole as the belly fills up. And then when you exhale, exhale like you're blowing through a straw. Inhale through the belly hole in the belly button. Exhale, blow through the straw. And do that about 3 or 4 times. Be really mindful. Exhaling through the straw really lengthens out the exhale. Inhaling through the belly button or envisioning it really brings the breath deep down into the body. One more time. You can just go back to your normal breathing now. Hopefully that'll be a little slower, more relaxed and more full. And open your eyes. And smile. Okay, so we're going to start on our backs. So lying down on your mat, just make sure that the back of your neck is nice and long, that your shoulders, the backs of your shoulders are in contact with the mat. Your arms can be a little way away from you, and take your feet out to your the sides of your mat, so widen or a little bit wider than your hips. I'm actually going to put a timer on here. Let me try and find that timer. We're going to start with windshield wipers, and so we'll just do a few of them, and then when we go to one side, I'll tell you when that'll be. We'll just hold our knees over to that one side for a minute and really feel the nice relaxation that comes from that. So let's just begin to windshield wipe. So just swaying the knees a little bit over to one side and a little bit over to the other side. And exhale as they drop towards the side, and inhale as they come to center. Exhale over to the side. And the further down your knees reach to the ground, the opposite hip can come up off the mat. So keeping the shoulders relaxed, just letting the weight of the legs and the gravity take your knees closer down towards the earth. And warming up the hips, the lower back, the groin area, the thighs. And now the next time your knees come to one side, just let them rest over to that side. So let the weight of the knees go down, take your knees closer down towards the earth. I'm going to put a timer on here for 1 minute. So this is like a bit of a yin pose. So you can also turn your head in the direction of your knees. That's timer working. And really let your breath just relax and ease up through your body. Feel the lengthening across the top thigh. And the twist in the lower back. If you like to, if it's not comfortable, you can have your head facing center. But close your eyes here. Where you feel any resistance or tightness, just take your breath or your attention to that area. That minute went very fast. So now on your next exhale, or next inhale, bring your knees up to center. Take a couple of centering breaths here. And then you can drop your knees over to the other side. And we'll put that timer back on. Feel into your body. Breathe deeply down into your belly. And on your next inhale, bring your knees back up to center. Take a couple of centering breaths here. And now you're going to bring the soles in this lying down position, this supine position, bring the soles of your feet together and allow your knees to go out to either side. This is supine cobbler's pose. So you're going to feel some tension or some tightness in your inner thighs and groin area here. So once again, just take your breath down into that area that's tight. You're going to hold this for 1 minute. Feel the inner and outer thighs releasing, lengthening. With each exhale, soften and let go. Breathe deep down into your belly. And then take your hands to either side, outside of your thighs, and bring your legs, your knees back in together. Feet flat on the floor. And lengthen your legs out. Stretch your arms up overhead and a nice full body stretch here. So the backs of your hands are reaching the mat. You can point and flex your toes. You can lengthen all the way from one heel all the way up through the fingertips on one side and then release. And lengthen all the way from the heel all the way up through the other side of the body, up through the fingertips and release. Point your toes, lengthen all the way up through the sides of the body and breathe. And then take a few steps with your feet over to the right side and your hands can come over to the right side and hold your left wrist in your right hand. So you've got a nice stretch. Also cross your left foot over your right ankle. So you have a nice stretch all the way up through the side, left side body. Breathe into that left side body. Feel the lengthening. The opening of the side body and the left side rib cage. And back to center. And now walk your feet over to the left side. Cross your right foot over your left ankle and hold your right wrist with your left hand. And reach all the way through the right side of the body here. As you breathe into the right side of the body, feel the expansion of the right rib cage. and the lengthening of the muscles all the way up through the side body, under the arm, up through the arms, through to the fingertips. And then walk back to center. Now bring your feet back up onto the mat and your arms by your sides. This time your feet are at hip distance apart. We'll just do some pelvic tilts here. We're going to rock our pelvis back, up and down. So flatten the lower back down onto the mat and then increase the arch in the lower back as the pelvis tips back and forth and rocks up and down. This movement is coming from the pelvis, not so much from other muscles. We're just trying to warm up that area. The hip bones are coming forward and back, forward towards your knees and then back towards your head. Those hip points as the pelvis rocks back and forth. A couple more times here. And then come to still, recenter. Now you can bring your knees in to your torso. Hands are on your knees. And we'll just take circles with our knees. Go make little circles around the clockwise rotation and feel that lovely massage of the lower back and sacrum area. Going in one direction and then you can come to center and then reverse. Go in the opposite direction. And come to still. Take your hands by your sides. And now you are going to straighten your legs up towards the ceiling, taking your toes up towards the ceiling, heels drawing up towards the ceiling, and hold the backs of your thighs with your hands. It doesn't matter if you can't quite straighten your legs, straighten your knees, just wherever is comfortable. Make sure that your hands are, you're pressing your thighs into your hands and your hands into your thighs. Now you're going to separate your legs into a nice big V. So take your feet out away from each other and flex your feet here. So your toes are coming towards your head. And now point and flex and point. And bring your feet back together. And we'll do some ankle circles here. So rotate your feet in the opposite directions from each other. Feet are rotating around your ankles. Nice and slowly. And just enjoy this movement. And then reverse. And come to still. Now, once again, separate your legs into a nice V, feeling the lengthening and the inner thigh stretch here. And this time we'll do some ankle circles with our legs separated. So in opposite directions. One. And keep breathing. And then reverse. And still. Feel that. See if you can separate your legs even a little further away from each other, getting a nice groin stretch here. All the way up through the inner thighs. And now bring your legs back together and point and stretch your toes. And then you can bring your feet back onto the mat. Roll over onto one side and come up to sitting. I think my recording's a little dark, so I hope you can see me okay. So come up to sitting, legs crossed, if that's comfortable for you. Once again, you might even want to lift your butt up with your hands. So when you come down, you're sitting on your sit bones, so not back on your lower back. You don't want to be sitting back here. You want to sit up nice and tall, sitting even on the front of your sit bones here. And the crown of the head is over the tailbone. So raise your hands up to the ceiling. Nice deep inhale. And on the exhale, turn to the right and in a twist. So your right hand will come to the back of the mat and the left hand to the front of the mat. And you can look over your right shoulder. And on the next inhale, hands come back up. Exhale over to the left. Looking over the left shoulder. Inhale, arms back up. We'll do it one more time. Exhaling, twisting to the right. Inhale, arms back up above, and exhale to the left. And then back up. Now really lengthen up through the sides of your torso. Your chest is open and lifting away from your pelvis. And now circle your arms down. Float your hands down and around your back and interlace your fingers behind your back. And you can draw your knuckles down towards the floor. If it's comfortable, you can even move your hands away from your body here. Really opening up the front of the chest and stretching those collarbones, pec muscles. Notice how the shoulder blades are coming together at your back here. And then you can bring your hands back around. And this time we're going to cross our elbows in front of us, give ourselves a big hug. And we're going to now feel that the space that your shoulder blades are now moved away from your spine and apart from each other, and there's space across the back. So now, if you like, you can start to come to eagle arms. So start to bring your arms to vertical, the backs of the hands together. And then if you want to go a little step further, you can try and put your palms towards facing each other. You can just come to whatever is your comfort level for today. You can take your elbows a little bit away from your chest. You'll feel even more of a stretch across your back here. Breathe in deeply to that space that you've created in your upper back, and exhale, relax. And you can unwind, and this time take your arms back and cross them the other opposite direction. So whichever arm was on top, whichever elbow was on top, it's now going to go the opposite way. And give yourself a hug, even a little massage of your lower upper back if you can reach it. Start to bring those arms in front of you, backs of the palms together, and then interlace them so the palms are facing each other. Draw the elbows away from your body for even a greater movement, or creating more space here in the upper back. Shoulder blades are moving away from each other. Breathe into that space. And then you can unwind. Hands can come down gently, resting on your knees. Look over your right shoulder. And leading with the chin, just start to drop the chin down as we do a half circle down towards the sternum and up towards looking over the left shoulder. Lengthen up through the crown of the head. Nice deep inhale and start to drop the chin down towards the sternum and across to the right, looking over the right shoulder. Nice deep breath here. And you can do this one more cycle at your own pace. Inhale and then exhale. The slower you go, the more you're going to intentionally feel all that back of that neck. And then back to center. So now we're going to come to tabletop. So the wrists are under the shoulders. Knees are under the hips. Fingers are spread wide. The crease of the wrist is parallel with the front of the mat, lifting up through your arms. And you can either tuck your toes if that's comfortable, or you can have the tops of your feet flat on the mat. And we'll do some cat-cow. So begin by dropping the tailbone and rolling up through the spine, all the way through to finally letting the crown of the head drop towards the mat. Lifting up through the arms and really feeling every vertebrae reach towards the ceiling. Breathe here a couple of times. And then reverse that action, starting at the tail, at the sit bones, taking them up towards the ceiling, all the way through, rolling all the way through the spine and lifting the chest and the heart and the head forward. The gaze is forward, a little bit downward cast. And reverse, going into cat as we round the spine. On the exhale, inhale into cow. And one more round. And then come back to neutral spine, back to table. Take your right foot out, toe turned under. Right foot back behind you. We're going to lift that right foot using the inner thigh, right inner thigh muscle, lift it up to hip height. Point your toes down and draw your heel towards the back of the room and lower and lift. And lower and lift. And this time, press that left shin into the ground to balance you as you bend your right leg, and the sole of the foot is now reaching, facing towards the ceiling, and then just lift that knee a little bit, or that thigh a little bit towards the ceiling and lower, lift and lower, lift and lower. And now bring the knee in towards the head and the head in towards the knee in a curl. And then back out. Do that 3 times. Knee towards the head, head towards the knee. And And this is the last time. And then you can lower the right knee down onto the mat. Come back to your center. Take a few breaths here. Keep that neck nice and long. Take the left foot out, toes turned under. Not only are you going to use the left inner thigh, but you're going to use the left abdominal muscles to raise the left leg up to about hip height. Toes pointed down, heels drawing towards the back, and lower. Lift. As you inhale, exhale as you lower. Lift on the inhale. Lower. And then the last time, lift. Press the right shin into the ground to keep your balance. Bend your left knee and then lift that left thigh and the sole of the foot up towards the ceiling. One, just a little movement here. One more time. And now bring the left knee in towards the forehead and the forehead in towards the knee. Take it out. Exhale as you bring the knee towards the head, head towards the knee. Inhale as you lengthen out. And one more time. And you can bring that left knee down to join the right knee. You're going to get ready for a down dog now. So tuck your toes. Bring your upper arms. Twirl them so they're facing towards each other. Make sure that your fingers are spread apart. And then as you start to raise your knees off the floor, push with your hands, push your hips and sit bones back up to the sky. If you're comfortable, you can straighten your legs and let your heels drop down towards the earth. Just take 2 breaths here. And then you can either walk your feet towards your hands or your hands towards your feet, whatever is more comfortable, and stay hanging here in this forward bend. If you have to have your knees bent so that your hands can reach the mat, that is perfect. Or you can straighten your legs. And then bend your knees, bring your hands to your hips, and come all the way up to standing. Okay, so I'm going to just come into mountain pose. So the inside edges of the feet are parallel. The hip points are above the ankles, the shoulders are above the hips, and the crown of the head is reaching towards the ground as the soles of the feet draw down into the earth. So with a little bend of the knees, you can take your arms, circle your arms up and over. Nice inhale. Exhale, turn the palms away from each other and float your hands down to your sides. Inhale, arms circle up and around. This time really lengthen up through the sides of the body. The chest moves away from the pelvis. The bottom half of the body is weighting down towards the earth as the upper part of the body is reaching up towards the sky. And turn the palms out and float your hands down to the sides. This time, if you like, you can try to come up on your toes, on tiptoes, raising your heels as you bring your fingers towards the sky. And then float your hands down. And now we'll come into chair pose. So with the feet, some people like to have their legs together, their thighs together for this. It gives them a little more balance and strength. I prefer to keep my feet at about hip distance apart, so whatever is your preference. So we're going to start by bending the knees and hinging forward as we broaden across the lower back. Chest is forward and open. You can bring your hands to heart center as you lower down in chair pose. And then rise back up. Lower down again. So hinging at the waist, hinging forward at the waist, taking the tail, the sit bones back as though you're sitting in a chair. You want that nice line of energy from the tailbone all the way up through the crown of the head. And you can even take your hands out to cactus here. Bring them back to heart center. This time as you come up, I'm going to twist to the right. And I'll do it just to the left. So you're going to just twist so that your back, left hand comes towards the back, right hand comes towards the front of the room, and look back towards your back hand as you twist. Hands come together at heart center as we go back into chair pose. Come up and twist to the other side. Now, if you take your gaze to your back hand, you'll get more of a twist. Back to chair pose. We'll do it one more time on each side. Rise up and twist. Back to chair. And rise up and twist. And come back to center. Now take your right foot in a big step back behind you. You want to have your feet on railroad tracks, not on a tightrope. And you can even have them a little wider if that helps with balance. Actually, we're going to have the front legs straight. Hip points are facing forward and come all the way up on your back toes. And then draw your heel down towards the ground. Come back up on your back toe, then draw that back heel down just to get that movement. And come up on your heel, up on your toes. The next time you come, draw that heel down, start to bend your front knee. And then bring your arms up by your ears. In crescent pose. So lifting of the chest, opening of the heart. The back thigh is coming towards the ceiling, is coming towards the back of the room, or lifting up towards the ceiling, I should say. As you breathe in deeply here in this strong pose. And then come up on your toes and straighten your leg and float your hands to your side and step forward. Now take your left leg foot back. Keep that right leg straight and then just draw the heel down, the back heel down. You'll notice that you're really stretching out the calf here. Now take the front, come back up on the tips of your back toes and then come down and up and down. And the next time you're down, I'm sorry, I'm not explaining this very well, but start to bend your front knee, checking that the hip points are still facing forward, and then raise your arms up by your ears and lengthen up. Chest is forward, heart is open. And then you can straighten your right leg, float your hands down and step forward. Take a moment here just to center yourself. And we're going to come down into a halfway bend. So hinging at the tops of your thighs, start to come forward just into a half table here. Your hands can be on your thighs or your shins. You want your neck long, so there's extension from the tailbone through to the crown of the head. And then bow fully forward, so start to slide your hands down your legs, reaching the mat. If they don't reach the mat, you can bend your knees. And bring your chest in towards your thighs. Let the crown of your head drop down towards the mat. And really release that neck by shaking your head to and fro, and yes and no. Sometimes we think we've released it, but we're still holding our head. So really release the neck and the crown of the head down towards the mat. You feel a lengthening up the backs of the legs and a lengthening of the spine as it reaches down towards the mat. Come back to halfway lifts, so slide your hands up and draw yourself up. And release back down to a full fold. One more time, slide your hands up your legs. And exhale, release down. This time, bend your knees. Hands come in front of you as we step back into downward dog. So if you have to bend your knees here, you want to get that straight line of energy from the hands up to the shoulders, and then all the shoulders all the way up through to the sit bones. You can release your heels down towards the mat as you straighten your legs to feel the strength of this pose. Now you can come forward so that your shoulders are over your wrists in plank, and then drop your knees down. Spread your knees wide. Take your hips back into downward dog. You can into child's pose. You can either fold your arms in front of you and rest your head on your hands, or you can stretch your arms out in front. And just take this moment to relax. Take 2 more full breath cycles here. And when you're ready, you can come up to vertical. Come over onto your side and stretch your legs out in front of you. And just start, if it's comfortable, you can just start to lower down. We're going to come back down onto our backs here. And bring your feet back up to flat on the floor, knees pointed up to the ceiling. Just lift your hips a little and take them over to the right. Then bring your knees into your torso. Take your arms out to a T. Palms facing, hands facing up. And then start to take your knees over to the left side as you turn your head to the right side. Try to have the right shoulder grounded. Even if you have to jiggle the left shoulder a little bit wider so that the right shoulder can be flat on the ground. Picture your spine twisting from the tailbone all the way up through to the top of the spine. And close your eyes here. And when you're ready, bring your right knee up to center, followed by your left. You can put your feet back on the mat, come back to center, and then lift your hips a little, take them over to the left side. Bring your knees back in towards your torso, and this time drop your knees over to the right side. As you look over to the left, close your eyes. Once again, try to get that left shoulder towards the ground. You might want to pick the right shoulder up a little bit. It'll give you a little more space to rest that back of the left shoulder on the mat. Relax your jaw. Breathe deeply. And now bring your left knee to center, followed by the right knee. Bring your feet back down onto the mat. Bring your knees back in towards your torso. This time, take them out a little bit wide so they're kind of heading towards under your arms. As you start to now take the soles of your feet, keeping your knees bent, but the soles of your feet up towards the ceiling. We're going to come into happy baby. Here you can either hold onto the backs of your legs. If you like, you can take your hands through the center and then out to the outer edges of your feet. As you relax and sink your knees down towards the ground, relaxing the hips. If you like, you can rock a little bit from side to side here. Just sink deeper into the hips. And when you're ready, release your feet down onto the mat. Do one more thigh stretch. Take your right ankle over your left knee. Draw that right knee away from your body. And now start to bring the left thigh in towards the torso. Interlace your fingers behind that left thigh and then draw your thigh in as you start to stretch out the right outer thigh muscles. You don't want to tip the torso all the way back here. So you want to keep the pelvis on the ground. Feel the sweet sensation of the right outer thigh. One more deep breath here. And you can lower the left foot down onto the mat, followed by the right. Take a moment just to feel that sensation in the right leg. Now cross the left ankle over the right knee. Draw the left knee away from the body. And start to raise the right knee and thigh in towards the torso. And you can interlace your fingers between the right thigh. Some people like to have a right angle with that right foot, or you can just dangle it. You might feel it a little more intensely or not as intensely on this side. Everybody's, our bodies are all different on each side. But as you exhale, see if you can draw that right thigh in a little bit closer towards your body. And feel that sweet sensation up the outer left thigh. And when you're ready, you can drop that right foot down onto the mat, followed by the left. Another full body stretch. The arms up above you, legs reaching away from the hips. The arms reaching behind, and fingers stretching away from the torso. Breathe into the center of your body. You can point and flex your toes here, just feeling the different sensations with each movement. And then slowly start to bring your arms, circle them down and around by your side. Have them a little ways away from you. If you like to get a blanket for your Shavasana, if you want to put a pillow under your head or a rolled up blanket under your knees to release any compression in the lower back. So arms are slightly away from the body, palms up if you're feeling more open, palms down if you're feeling more inward. The legs are separated and the feet are splayed out to either side. As you start to relax and let the weight of your body fall into the earth, feeling your body spread out, not holding on to anything during this final pose, Shavasana or corpse pose, allowing the body to just rest and relax fully, rest deeply. I'm going to read you a lovely poem that I found, although I just can't find the author of it. So as you let your body melt here and spread out and drop down, the front body dropping into the back body dropping down into the unconditional support of the earth beneath you. I'll read this poem. We don't have to be afraid to step away, to lay down the loads we carry. We don't have to fear the silence that may come when we choose moments of peace over progress. Like the winter river with the still frozen top and waters that never stop running inside. When we are at rest, the most important work is being done. Sometimes a shift in pace is all we need to show us what's next. And the next steps we could take, with the season's thaw will come a powerful rush, the thrill of seeing what growth has come when it seemed we were at rest. So lay down your load now, my friends. Let it all sink. Don't be afraid of stillness and of rest, because a lot of progress is made in rest. Enjoy Shavasana for as long as you can or as you feel. And thank you all for joining me. Namaste.